Earthlings, attention, attention. This episode of Diabolical contains spoilers for Land 9 from outer space. You have been warned.
This is Diabolical, the comedy podcast where four long-suffering friends dissect film's most dastardly schemes, then try to improve them. I'm your host, Ben, and this week we're diving into B-movie royalty with the notorious Plan 9 from outer space. So make sure the old man is still buried, lock the side door, and let's get diabolical. Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome aboard the starship Diabolic. Joining me are three extraterrestrials with extra testicles, otherwise known as the Panel of Peril. Introduce yourselves and tell us, if you were an alien, what would your mission to Earth be? Adam, please kick us off.
Nanu, Earthlings. Adam here. My mission would be to use a special ray gun developed on my home planet that makes everybody be a little bit nicer to one another. People remember to say please and thank you, and there'd be a clip of some miserable middle-aged git, like say 50, saying it really slowly, like for the first time in 50 years, like the goo, and his face would contort into some horrible shape as he says it, and the person on the till or the cashier would just reach out and touch his hand and go, "It's okay now. Everything's going to be okay." And the man would just take his shopping bag and leave.
Beautiful. Super Dude.
Hey, Peril Pals, Craig here, also known as the Super Dude. And if I were an alien, my mission to Earth would probably be the equivalent of going to like an okay museum, not one that you're massively interested in. We'd be on a sightseeing tour of Earth, and we'd be looking around, and the tour guide of Earth would go, "And here's the Great Pyramids," and we'd be like, "Oh, yeah," and just waiting to get to the gift shop at the end, because Earth ain't all that. You know, in the universe, there's a lot of cooler planets, like a disco planet, and a planet with loads of snowboarding, and like a planet with popping candy people. Earth's just a bit, it's not great, is it?
We've got all of those things on Earth.
Yeah.
Well, except for the popping candy people.
And the gift shop usually has a cafe that serves coffee and cake.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan, Gaz, what would your mission to Earth be?
Hi, pals, Gaz here, and my mission to Earth, if I were an alien, would probably be to save the life of our beloved Princess Di. Any other answer is incorrect.
You old romantic.
I know. I'm the King of Hearts to her Queen of Hearts, or Princess of Hearts, whatever her name was.
How would you do that? Would you kill the Queen? Is that how you'd do that?
I'd kill anybody and everybody I had to. The chauffeur, Dodi Al-Fayed, Mohammed Al-Fayed, the CIA, the tunnel. I'd kill that fucking tunnel.
Corgis.
Yeah.
The French press.
Well, how are you going to get your coffee without a French press?
Oh, yeah.
Well, for me, as part of a race that has long evolved beyond petty emotions, I would journey to Earth to discover the meaning of tears. My method would be to take people out on dates and body shame them in front of waiters in order to lick their tears from their face and thus learn their salty secrets.
What secrets would they hold, though?
Well, I don't know yet. I haven't done it.
That's kind of what Dementus does in Furiosa. He says the different tears have got different tastes. This one is quite piquant, I believe he says.
I wonder if any of these tears taste like rhubarb and custard.
Oh, there's only one way to find out.
I have to go and find out. That's my mission in life
That's
now.
to go and body shame people in front of waiters.
Just added it to my bucket list. Find somebody with rhubarb and custard tears.
But at the end of your mission, you discover that laughter tears taste different to upset tears, and you have a whole new mission, Monsters University.
Later, we'll compete to see who can come up with the most fiendish scheme to earn points for the Season 6 leaderboard. But first, let's probe deeper into this week's cosmic catastrophe. Plan 9 from outer space crash-landed into theatres back in July 1959. Directed by the infamous Ed Wood, who later would be celebrated for his uniquely disastrous filmmaking style, the movie is regarded as one of the worst ever made. Starring Gregory Walcott, Tor Johnson, Malia Nurmi, aka Vampira, and featuring footage of the legendary Bela Lugosi shot just before his death, the film attempts to weave a narrative about aliens resurrecting the Earth's dead to stop humanity from creating a doomsday weapon that could destroy the universe. Despite being a critical and commercial flop, Plan 9 has achieved cult status for its campy dialogue, poor production values, and nonsensical plot, being revered enough to spawn Tim Burton-directed biopic Ed Wood. It is the embodiment of so bad it's good, and a film I selected, as I so often do, in the spirit of collective cinematic masochism. So let's find out what the panel made of it. Gaz, did this movie transcend terrible to become a masterpiece, or should it have stayed buried?
I'm leaning more towards transcending towards being a masterpiece, but it isn't a masterpiece, of course. But I think to call it the worst film ever made is ridiculous. I think it's a lot of fun taken as a bit of schlock, and I don't think it's horrendously badly made, but obviously he's not a great director. The camera's just locked off, pointing straight ahead. Characters are clearly stood just off frame, stepping into frame. The dialogue is not great. There's not really any characterization. The stock footage is through the roof.
Yeah,
at the start of the
it's
film.
ace.
In fact, famously, that Bela Lugosi died through filming, and so Edward's dentist takes the role with his cape covering his face.
Yeah. Isn't that just in the movie? Isn't he a chiropractor in real life?
Oh, chiropractor, that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But I still think it's a lot of fun in its own way.
Yeah.
On Letterboxd, I think I gave it 1 star, but I said I had a great time with it, and I did.
Yeah.
Even, none of the actors are particularly good, are they? But Tor Johnson, he starts off barely intelligible in his first scene. I was like pointing my ear towards the screen, like, what the hell is he saying? But his facial expressions and his inflections are quite convincing and good. It's only when he's killed and he comes back to life as a stone-faced zombie that I think it becomes a bit cheesy. Same with Vampira. She's quite cheesy. She looks like she's had a lobotomy. Her facial expressions a lot of the time.
Vampira or Vampira? Vampira.
Vampira,
Is it?
I'd say.
Vampira.
I don't know. Vampira, I thought.
Because we do
Potato,
call
potato.
Draculas vampires, don't we? So that makes
Banana
sense.
Banini.
And we also call them Draculas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dracul. Or Vlad.
Or night teeth monsters.
Night teeth monsters.
Where?
Or Bitey Boys.
Gregory Walcott is clearly an accomplished actor. Clearly he's got something about him.
Yeah.
Which one is Gregory Walcott, pray tell?
He's the pilot.
Is he? Yeah. He was okay.
He never turns down a movie, though, does he? That's what the thing was with him. He never turned down a movie.
Yeah.
He just, well,
Right.
I've got a movie for you. I'll do it.
He'd be great in like an episode of Twilight Zone or something. And you'd probably say, oh, he was really good in that.
Yeah.
That role feels so random, like everybody's cops or with the army or whatever, and then there's just this random airline pilot who saw the UFO by chance. And when he's piloting that plane, Jesus Christ, he's just sat there doing nothing. His eyes are moving around, looking at stuff, and that's about
He
it.
got autopilot.
So yeah, I think to call it the worst film ever made is not the case at all. It's not a great film, but it's well worth watching. It's copyright free on YouTube. Any Peril Pals that haven't seen it before listening, it's well worth a look. It's quite short as well, quite snappy, and I think it's perfectly acceptable to laugh both at it and with it. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Very nice. Although it does sound confusing laughing at it and with it. I don't think I could laugh at two things simultaneously. Super Dude, what are your thoughts on the film?
Yeah, similar. I think like all of us and like probably most people, I became interested in it through watching Tim Burton's Ed Wood,
Yeah.
which is really entertaining. and I wanted to see what had inspired at least part of it. I think for me, I don't find it that snappy. I think its biggest crime for me is it's quite dull. Like, it has moments of intrigue and some scenes that are interesting, but I think largely I'm waiting for it to end. Like, it just feels a bit plodding to me. I really like Tor Johnson though, especially as a zombie. I think he's got a really great zombie look.
That's
His
amazing.
kind of slack-jawed face. It's like that one zombie in Shaun of the Dead he's got his mouth open and his eyes wide and his little shaky head. I really like that kind of zombie look. And I think the scene of him emerging from his grave is one of the great zombie emerging from grave scenes maybe ever. He does it really well. The way that he kind of jerkily moves out, I think it's great.
The build-up to it's a bit odd, but
Yeah.
when he actually comes out, it's cool.
I think the problem with it is Ed Wood was obviously friends with Bela and wanted to kind of revive his career, and what he was well known as was Dracula, and they have him in this vampire costume, same with Vampira, and it just feels completely incongruous with the plot. He's obviously looking at what people are interested in at the time, which is UFOs. Everybody's crazy for UFO sightings, and the stories of pilots seeing them were pretty rife at the time. But to try and mash that together, a monster mash, if you will.
Oh.
With kind of B-movie monster horror stories, doesn't really work. It never really makes any sense, but it's a lot of fun. One of my favourite things about Ed Wood is Bill Murray as Bunny Breckenridge, and Bunny is one of my favourite things about Planet Known from Outer Space. Once he shows up, adding some timely camp to the proceedings, it becomes a lot more fun. He knows out of all of them what they're making, and he's got absolutely no respect for the source material whatsoever. Reading his lines like they're the most ridiculous thing, which they are. The thing about like the dialogue, I wonder if it's intentional. You couldn't sit and read and sit and listen to that Criswell monologue at the start without thinking this sounds ridiculous. He says "my friend" like too many times for it to not be intentionally funny, I think.
Right.
It's really poorly structured, that opening speech as well. Like, he starts talking about that day way before he says anything about the contrivances of the plot, and it's like, what day are you talking about? What?
And it's not just one day either, is it?
Right. You could put it down to them not having enough time to do reshoots or retakes or whatever, but with that and Bunny as well, it's very evident that Bunny was reading his dialogue. He hadn't memorized it. You can see him reading it quite clearly. Unless the script had no redrafts or whatever, I think maybe there was a bit of tongue-in-cheek going on and he kind of knew what he was doing. By this point, he made a few films and it kind of was notorious for reusing stock footage and, you know, doing things kind of cheap and cheerful. And I think he knew that was part of his charm. But yeah, I do find a lot of it quite dull. That's my only problem with it.
The parts where they're starting to build tension that would keep you engaged, something happens, whether it's the lighting changes so it goes from day to night or whatever,
Right.
and so then your brain switches to that and you're like, oh, you kind of out of
Takes
the
you
moment.
out of it, right.
Yeah, and so you never really get that full engagement that you would.
That's probably true, actually, yeah. You focus so much on the poor filmmaking that you don't have a chance to absorb the tenuous story such as it is.
Exactly, yeah. What did you think, Adam?
Just to pick up what Craig said there about, before I go into the thing about Bela Lugosi, it was the shots he used of him were from an abandoned project he was going to use. They were going to film, so they shot some initial shots of him, and then he obviously died a year or two before this was released. And then they just he wanted to use that footage so to give the film some star, so he could say, oh, Bela Lugosi's in it. So he just shoehorned it in at any cost, and that's why it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so apparently they filmed it without any script. He just filmed it.
They show that in Ed Wood, don't they? The filming of that sequence where he comes out of the house and smells the flower. And Johnny Depp's Ed Wood is literally point by point directing what he should do. You know, pick up the flower, smell it, all that.
To get into what I thought, I'm very much the same. I think more closer to Gaz than to Craig. to Super Dude, I beg your pardon, Your Holiness.
Thank you.
The wonderful man.
In nomine Patris, Filii, Spiritus Sancti.
But yeah, for me, I was stopping to have a laugh. I was doing my Edna Krabappel laugh right regularly. And then I was stopping because I was and having to rewind it a little bit to write down all the lines and stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's so much in there that is so good, and some of it is so bad that it's so good. But there is times where you are laughing with it, like the bumbling policeman who has the worst few nights of his career, constantly getting strangled by zombies and stuff like that or whatever, and he just doesn't seem to catch a break. That's genuinely funny. I think he's put that in there as a bit of a lighthearted attempt, but then there's the other bits, like all the crazy lines and the bad scenery and things like that, and I found it all very charming, and I love Edward's dedication. He has obviously a vision, but he doesn't quite have either the money or the skills to project it onto the screen. But you can feel it through it. It's a passion project, and he wants it so badly to be good that it ends up being terrible. And I very much agree as well that this definitely isn't the worst film in the world.
No way.
It certainly isn't since the Room has been released.
That's it's far better than The Room, yeah.
Oh, by a long way. This is like Wuthering Heights compared to The Room.
Listen to our episode on The Room, Peril Pals.
You're tearing me apart, Adam. You're tearing me apart.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it, and like bobs along nicely. We keep watching films at the moment that are sort of 90 minutes, just around about 90 minutes. They're, give or take 10 minutes either side or whatever, and it's great. I think this is I really enjoyed it. I've got to be honest.
We're going to get a terrible reputation among fans of On Cinema at the cinema for constantly gushing about the run times of films.
But it's true. We've always said, and we said we like films around the 90-minute mark.
You all have, yeah, not me.
Yeah, I think you said something about 1 hour 43 or something once, didn't you? And you said,
yeah, I think I may have been kidding.
I would love to have had the opportunity to see this before I saw Ed Wood. I think because I saw Ed Wood first, I knew what to expect. And so maybe I went in with that mindset of getting ready to enjoy it because it's bad. I wonder how I'd have felt if I'd have gone into it without knowing anything about it and expecting a decent film. I wonder if it just pissed me off. Well, I suppose we'll never know. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Ed Wood for just putting together a film. Okay, it's not 100% coherent, but it is a film and it's there and it's obviously stood the test of time. It's still beloved today. So I think as a filmmaker, you can't really ask for much more than that, can you?
No. Plus, its legacy will outlive a lot better films.
That's very true.
It's been so influential.
I'm not saying that he wasn't striving for it to be the best film it could be, but I think he was more desperate to use that footage he had of Bela and to try and cobble together something that he thought would be appealing rather than good. I think he sensed that there was a trend at that time for UFO stuff and for kind of grave robber stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll just throw all that in and it'll work.
Yeah, he tries to combine a few things though, doesn't he? It's like that atomic sort of future, but it's mixed with science fiction and then the horror as well. It's sort of, I think he puts too many things together and it doesn't quite gel.
Yeah.
His mind must have been racing, eh? Just so many ideas.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Relying on his friends as collaborators as well. And it's clear that although I believe as a drag artist, Bernie Breckenridge had some stage experience, it's clear that he wasn't an actor.
Very few actors in this cast, I would say.
Before I ask you for your lowlights and laughable lines, we're going to play a little quiz I'm calling Jeopardy-like quiz game from outer space. So you know the drill by now. I have several categories for you, containing questions related to this week's movie. You'll each get a chance to pick a category and answer a question thereupon. The categories are I'll see you back at the studio Oh my God. You don't say. An all play. Super Dude. Pick a category.
I get to go first. I never get to go first. Who is the Doctor? Oh, wait, you haven't asked the question yet. I'll go with you don't say.
Malia Nurmi, aka Vampira, had a famously seductive voice, but her Plan 9 character never makes a sound. Why?
Because she was the only union actor and she would have had to have been paid if she spoke.
It's a very good guess.
I think they do explain it in Ed Wood, but I haven't seen it for like 10 years.
Yeah, it's just that she was given dialogue by Ed Wood. She read it, hated it, and said, "Can I stay mute?" Right, Adam, pick a category.
OMG.
Right, well, the movie's working title was Grave Robbers from Outer Space. So why did it change?
Was it because there was another film of a similar name?
Ah, it's good, but it's not the one.
Oh.
The Hays Code? We're not allowed to have the word grave robbers or something like that.
I don't know what any of that you just said meant.
Edward was worried that people would be turned off by the word grave robbers or something.
No, it was actually funded by J. Edward Reynolds, who was a devout Southern Baptist. And his religious sensibilities were offended by the title.
The producers want us to get baptized.
Yeah, exactly. So you got a full body baptism, and so did some of the cast members too.
Yeah.
Apparently Tor Johnson, during the baptism, pretended to drown to prank them all. All right, Gaz.
I'll see you at the studio.
I'll see you back at the studio.
Oh, yeah. I kind of remembered it.
We touched on this earlier, but production on Plan 9 from Outer Space began after Lugosi's death, and as a result, Wood recruited Tom Mason as a substitute. But how did Wood find his standing star?
Because he was either his chiropractor, which is my first choice, or his dentist, which is a distant second choice.
Yeah, you're basically right. He was Ed Wood's wife's chiropractor. And Mason was noticeably taller than Lugosi, which is why you see him hunched over throughout the movie. And then that's why you also have, you have the cloak in front of the face, for it doesn't hide from the much darker hair, does it?
I swear they do mention something about a dentist in Edward. I'll have to watch it again. It is one of Tim Burton's best.
Yeah, this film made me really want to watch that again.
Yeah, same here.
Back in the days when Johnny Depp radiated charisma instead of oozing sleaze.
And marital violence.
Yes.
Oozing marital violence.
Yes.
All right, time for the all play. When writing, Ed Wood used a number of different pen names. Can you name any?
Oh, Parker? Oh, Bick.
A nom de plume, super dude, a nom de plume. You should know about that.
Okay, yeah. No, again, this is something they mention in Edward that I've forgotten.
Old Long Johnson.
Oh, good.
Chandler Bing?
Barry UK envelopes.
You could have had Angora in reference to his favourite textile.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He wears the Angora cardigan in
Yeah.
Glen Oglender.
Act of Telmig,
What?
the reverse spelling of his favourite drink, a vodka gimlet. You could have had Peter LaRoche, Edward Davis, and Hank Barnum.
Wow.
I think there are a few more, but for whatever reason, because he wrote quite a lot of Pulp Fiction as well as screenwriting.
The Quentin Tarantino movie.
Oh, you got me there, didn't you? You bloody got me. Ed Wood did not write Pulp Fiction, Peril Pals.
Hence the snappy dialogue.
Scrub that from your diary. All right, let's move on to our favourite moments. Gaz, could you please kick us off?
Well, I've got quite a nice running thing that doesn't involve dialogue, though, I just remembered. The lead police investigator, following Tor Johnson's untimely death and zombie resurrection, has this amazing habit of gesticulating with his gun, scratching himself with his gun, pointing it right in fellow officers' faces as he's talking. It's incredible. Just reminded me of Police Chief Wiggum. Scratching himself and eating donuts.
I get it.
Apparently he was doing that to test Ed Wood. He was doing it to see if Edward would call him up on it. And of course, Edward did not call him up on it.
It's very, very funny.
Yeah, that's great. He really is picking his nose with it almost.
Yeah.
Adam, what was your highlight?
It's just one little bit, but I was just like, oh my God. And it's part of the scenery. And it's when he comes out of the crypt, Bela Lugosi or whatever his name is, the other fella. He comes out, doesn't he, the little crypt, but it's clearly made out of chipboard. And it's just, when you see it come into shot, you're like, Jesus Christ. But I just loved it. It just made me chuckle so much. And then when the door opens as well, it's like, oh, they're actually going to open the door on it as well. I just thought it was going to be a static piece, but no.
So good.
No. Brilliant.
All the gravestones and the crosses just wobbling as people walk by in the wind.
Yeah. It is,
so good.
And every funeral was at night as well.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Super dude.
Well, I blew my beans on this a little bit early. It's the scene of Tor emerging from his grave. So the other bit I'll highlight is I genuinely think the opening credits for this are excellent. Kind of typeface, the music. It's just a great opening sequence and it really puts you in this kind of B-movie mood. I don't know if maybe that's where all the budget went. Really good.
Did you like the announcer that comes next, like, who sets the story? Do you think that worked? The futurist narrator?
I think that was just an excuse to let Criswell do something in the movie.
Do you not think it worked? I kind of liked it, especially after those credits, I thought.
If it was like an anthology where he introduced all the different films like that, that would have made some sense.
Yeah.
But just as a part of this, it's just like, what the fuck are we doing? Why is this like a recap? Why does it even have a narrator? And then you sort of realize as it goes on, it's probably because how else would you know that
what the hell's
Bela
going on?
Lugosi had died when he just stepped out of his house and then he's just dead?
Yeah, it's very confusingly staged, that, isn't it? He walks completely out of frame. Then you hear a car screech, and then the screen gets cut off about a second into it. And it instantly fades out. Brilliant. It's like a Simpsons gag, the way the screen gets cut off instantly.
I like the futurist announcer just as an extension of those credits. I felt, okay, I'm ready for a B movie now. This is setting it up for me.
I see what you mean. And, if anyone's going to do it, Criswell, he does it pretty well, especially considering how mental his dialogue is.
Yeah.
Well, my favourite scene, and I was just laughing. The longer it went, the more I laughed. And it was the rockets shooting at the alien, the UFOs.
Oh my God, yeah.
How long did that was about a quarter of the film's running time.
Hundreds and hundreds of rockets fired.
Brilliant use of stock footage.
All I could think about during that, and it'll be coming from me if it isn't coming from any of you, was
All right, let's move on to our favourite lines. Adam, could you start us off?
I've written down so many, but I've got to go for this one because this is one that made me really lol. The pilot, when he's getting seen off by his wife and he's going back to the plane, he said, "The saucers are up there, the cemetery's out there, I'll be locked up in there. Now, off to your wild blue yonders." It's absolutely mental.
Super dude.
I've lost some of the context around this, but the gist is that the cops are discussing one of the incidents and they're eliminating the idea that a UFO was involved this time because nobody saw any lights. And one of them retorts, "Well, haven't you heard? Many times a saucer hasn't had a glow, or a light of any kind for that matter." And he goes, "That proves it." What next, Lieutenant? Just like a total Batman movie line.
Yeah, that's great.
He's just convinced by that. Okay, well, there you go then. The only possible explanation.
Gus, what have you got for us?
First one I'm going to go for is from Criswell's opening speech. This little doozy. Future events such as this will affect you in the future. Fucking hell. Come on, Ed. That's an easy one to spot. Come on.
Yeah.
Right, well, my first offering is from the alien commander, and he's trying to explain the actions of the aliens because of death. Because all you on Earth are idiots. And then the pilot replies, now just you hold on, Buster.
Yeah, they throw that in, don't they? They throw in some like random insults like stupid and idiots, don't they? They do all this heavy explanation. They goes, "You're just idiots. They're stupid." And it's like, what the fuck?
That's brilliant.
They're crazy.
Have you got a second one for us, Adam?
I've got second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, sixth, a seventh, an eighth, a ninth, and a 10th if you want. Oh, fuck. Oh, I tell you what, it's the exchange between the colonel when he goes to visit his boss. And his boss is sat behind the desk going, so you've seen saucers, you do realise it's a court-martialable offence if you do say this. You have seen saucers. So, I'm just telling you, have you seen saucers? Yeah, they do exist. Yes, you're fine. It's absolutely mental.
Super dude. Coming back for seconds.
I'll go with another Criswell one from the end, which will foreshadow somewhat into my plot. My friend, you have seen this incident. Based on sworn testimony, can you prove it didn't happen? Like the onus is on you to feel it.
Really? You can't, can you? Either? He's right.
Can I hold my hands up?
Gaz, what have you got for us?
I've got a line from my favourite investigating officer. I've written, the investigating officer scratches himself nonchalantly with his gun and says, in reference to Tor Johnson, he's dead, and one thing's for sure, someone's responsible. It's a reasonable assumption to make.
That's why they pay him the big bucks.
Just thinking of the opening, the setup, not only do they imply that it's a true story, but there's a strong implication that it's one that you should have been very familiar with by the time you went to see the film. You know about the events that happened on that fateful day. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, of course.
Which will help you because the film's not going to help you with that. Just to go back to Gaz and the police there. One thing that does ring true about this is the police car and the uniforms, and that is because Tor Johnson's brother was in the police force, and he used his connections to source some of the gear.
Sounds like Swedish police using your connections to source some gear.
Got to do it, ain't you? Got to do it. All right. Well, my second favourite line was an exchange between the police lieutenant, the army colonel, and Mrs. Trent, the pilot's wife. Mrs. Trent, you'd better stay here with the car. Stay here all alone? Not on your life. Modern women. Yeah, they've been like that all down through the ages. The residents of California's San Fernando Valley find themselves under attack by flying saucers from outer space. The aliens plan to conquer the planet to prevent humanity from one day inventing the solaronite bomb that is destined to set off a chain reaction that ends the universe. Heavy, heavy stuff. So how do they go about this most important task? By resurrecting corpses in a Hollywood cemetery, of course. This includes a cape-wearing ghoul, played by the legendary Bela Lugosi, a vampire, played by Vampira, and a slow-moving cop, played by Tor Johnson, who stalk curious individuals who enter the cemetery looking for evidence of the UFOs. Adam, what did you think of the alien scheme?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. It was, yeah. Yeah. It was a scheme, all right.
Okay, thank you for your input. Gaz, what did you think?
It's hard, isn't it? Killing people to bring them back to life, to kill everybody else, to stop I guess, like a reality ending device, destroying the universe. And then they just haven't taken account of just simple handguns at the end there, because their undoing is just getting shot a little bit. Not even that much in comparison to the amount of ground to air missiles that they've avoided earlier in the film. So yeah, I think based on the technology they seem to have at their disposal, that they've kind of maybe been a bit too cocksure in their how advanced they are compared to our cavemen with their little guns. And they should have maybe try not to spoil my plan too much. They should have stayed a bit further away rather than coming to ground level, let's say.
I totally agree with you there. And Gaz, do you think that preemptive strikes are ever justified? So yes or no question?
No.
Super Dude, what do you think?
What do I think? I think this is hands down, without close competition, the worst plan in the history of this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's dreadful. Not only is it a poor idea, but they don't appear to really have the means to execute it. They managed to resurrect a sum total of 3 people in quite a long span of time. This is never going to work. Their plan of resurrecting the dead is to create so much chaos that it distracts humans from creating the solaronite bomb. Just 3 zombies is not going to achieve that.
It's a domino effect. You get to a tipping point, I imagine.
Bunny should have put his foot down once he got the, debrief on how the mission was going. He said, what? This is your plan? So I know you're all waiting for this, for my famous rating that I give every week, and I'm going to give it just 1 cheeseless nubbin of cauliflower.
Oh, that's quite something else.
Proprietary systems.
Tune in next time for my system that I always do every week of how much...
Jesus nubbin system. Yeah, I'd have to agree. And for that reason, I am giving it 1 cheeseless nubbing of broccoli. If you're enjoying this Out of This World episode, we'd love for you to beam over to your preferred podcast platform and leave us a glowing review. Just like the aliens in Plan 9, we need your help. Your review helps us resurrect more listeners and is worth more than a spaceship full of reanimated corpses. Now blast off and drop us some stars. Now it's time for our interstellar standoff, where we compete to see who can come up with the best alternative plan to earn precious peril points for the diabolical leaderboard. In Plan 9 from outer space, extraterrestrials resurrect the dead in an attempt to stop humans from one day developing a catastrophic weapon with the potential to destroy the universe. It's a bizarre and unnecessarily complicated scheme, so let's see if we can outdo these outer space oddballs. Super Dude, how would you prevent humanity from destroying the universe?
My friends, for your consideration, Plan 10 from outer space.
Oh, shit.
Can you prove it wouldn't work? That's it. Want me to nutshell it for you? I'll nutshell it for you. So, in a nutshell, Plan 9 was doomed to failure. For the aliens' technology, though far in advance of our own, is limited in terms of speed. It takes them a long time to reanimate a mere trio of corpses, all in the same area, none of particular note. However, given these limitations and the knowledge thereof, Plan 10 proposes reanimating one particular corpse, one of such note in the field of weapons of mass destruction that the human populace of Earth must surely heed his posthumous warning. In short, my friends, a corpse of undeniable quality. I speak naturally of the unnatural and shambolic zombie Oppenheimer. J. Robert Oppenheimer, father of the atomic bomb, still some 7 years away from his own death, and so the aliens must first kill him and then resurrect him and then send him on a tour of major shopping malls to give lectures about the dangers of the solaronite bomb's deadly effects. And somewhere in that audience, a young boy goes to the mall to purchase a soft pretzel, coated with cinnamon sugar, and hears the old zombie tell his mournful lament, and that boy, who would later grow up to invent the deathly solaronite bomb, changes his mind and invents an invention to better all of mankind.
What's that invention?
It's an invention to better all of mankind. It's a shower that you get dried in, like the one from Death Stranding, and you can also shit in it while you're having a shower.
Oh, yeah, I remember that shower. Yeah, very good. So, the rules of the zombies in this film, what did we decide as regards speaking? Because this Oppenheimer zombie is speaking, is he not?
Oppenheimer's still alive, so there's a chance for them to get him to record his lament before they kill him and resurrect him.
Oh.
Why don't they just ask him to go on the tour? Force him at gunpoint or whatever?
Plan 10 involves you have to kill him and reanimate him.
After recording his message.
Exactly.
The plan is not malleable.
The thing is, humans, they're soft, aren't they? And they could die at any time. But if you resurrect a human into a zombie, it can't die of old age anymore.
And they don't need toilet breaks.
Exactly.
Constant touring.
Doesn't need to shower and shit at the same time. So yeah, the zombie can go on tour indefinitely, as long as nobody destroys the brain or removes the head.
None of your union, Actors Guild rules for breaks and whatnot. Yeah, fair. It's quite a good idea, actually.
And the smell will attract more people to the mall. Oh, what's that?
Let's go find out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the zombie Robert Oppenheimer. Well, it sounds flawless. Does anyone have any questions?
At the end of his life, how credible was Oppenheimer to the general public?
They'd given him an award, hadn't they, towards the end of his life, to apologise for ostracising him from the scientific community.
So it was like when Travolta came back in Pulp Fiction.
Similar. In 1963, they gave him the Fermi Award, the Enrico Fermi Award, as a gesture of political rehabilitation.
And so what year was this film?
1959.
Yeah.
Not quite forgiven yet.
Well, I didn't tell you the timeline of my plan.
Oh. Playing with timelines again.
Let's talk timelines. Timelines.
Here we go.
It just has to happen before Oppenheimer dies at their hand, so they can choose when it is likely. He didn't die of natural causes until 1967, so we're all good here.
Checks out.
He can get his Fermi Award before they record and kill him and then bring him back.
Would the Christopher Nolan biopic cover that era of his life?
It definitely would have, yeah. It would have been the focus of it. It would have shifted from, when you look at the whole scope of his life, yeah, he invented the A-bomb, but he didn't invent the solaronite bomb, and he probably convinced a boy not to invent it as well on one of his many mall tours.
Well, they'd know that by the end, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they'd be certain. That boy was going to invent the solaronite bomb. That's what all our computer models are telling us. But instead, he invented the poop chute, the shower you can shit in, and then it dries you.
Beautiful. All right, then. Adam, how would you prevent humanity from destroying the universe?
Okay.
Dick.
Good hello, fellow mortals. Prepare yourselves for a scary story that will curdle marmalade. So terrifying that eggs will uncook themselves, jump back into their shells, reconstitute those shells whole, and launch themselves back into the chicken vaginas from whence they came. Aliens with a plan, greater than 8, but not as much as 10, have traveled to Earth in a cosmic compost bin to seek nonsensical conversations that lead to contradictions and confusions only justifiable to the judgment liquid previously mentioned. Isn't confusion a bad thing? Isn't confusion itself confusing, spawning assumptions and poor deductions? The answer is no. Valley, cromulent half-pasts of the hour, thee, sir. Palm door, tea cakes, trumpet. There's no time for that. Earthlings approach. Prepare speech capsules for valmorphification. Leaks! Leaks! Now, see here, Colonel. That woman's waist was impossibly small, I tells you. Not even a weasel could crawl through it. How about a stoat, Lieutenant? Stoats can crawl through wedding rings, or can they? Not even a weasel. Look, an alien! Spaceship! And an alien! Polyester! 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 Polystyrene! No! No, no, no! Please don't use zombies to sterilize our manhood. Although our junk be the sweetest of meats. Humans, take care. Need not the bombs and guns which Noah coveted 2 by 2. Did you learn nothing of Icarus? The Icarus? I shall regale you. Chocolate hot fudge sundae. Too hot? Incredibly hot. Melt in the middle? Does that sound familiar? Of course. How could we have been so blind? Splitting the atom. Slippery slope. Self-destruction guaranteed. Bow in awesomeness. We have seen your futures. Do our sorcerers not make your balls tingle? Yes, to harness the power of the sun, even the paltry sum of 1 GV would destroy your planet and the universe like charcoal sausage. So you see, homogeneous creatures, fables of old and tales of bold, future that is, halt the destruction and begin the construction of peace. Forever. Now. In the future.
I got no idea what happened. I was too busy laughing at the funny voices in the line.
It's basically a full radio play.
Was that actually written by Ed Wood?
No. I think I must have been him in a previous life.
What are your feelings on Angora? Sorry, I shouldn't have asked.
Smooth, bubbly, comforting, white.
I like to wear it, sniff it, rub it on my face.
Lovely.
Sounded like it was written by AI Oscar Wilde and then translated into Prussian and then back into English.
No, it was me. It was 100% pure dickhead.
I got that sense. So, nutshell it for me. Is it that you want to confuse the Earthlings so much that they won't create the weapon?
No, they threaten them with zombies that are going to eat their knackers, essentially.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, please don't do that. And they go, well, let us tell you a story about Icarus.
Right.
So they tell them about Icarus and they go, oh, he flew close to the sun. And they go, yeah, well, that's the moral of the story is if you go near the sun or use the sun's power, it's going to kill you and kill everybody else. So don't do it. Otherwise, we've got the zombies who'll eat your knackers.
It's a powerful motivator.
Does, though, I don't want to pick holes too much, but
It's like a colander, this. There's quite a few.
do chickens have vaginas?
Yes, I've looked it up.
They don't
Actually.
have a cloaca?
That's the one thing I thought. Is that something they're going to pull apart? I thought, do they come out their asses and they just like...
No, isn't it called like a cloaca?
Yeah, but it's the vagina is a muscle used to push them out or something like that. So it's all relevant. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right to use that. That's about the only bit of my plan that actually made sense.
So much we don't know about chickens and vaginas.
It's like the sea, isn't it? It's the one thing that we haven't properly explored. Know more about space than we do about chickens' vaginas.
For example, we know what space smells like.
In space, no one can smell what space smells like.
No one can see you smell.
One smells what space smells like when you scream in space.
All right, well, if there are no further questions for Adam's plan, Gaz, how would you prevent humanity from destroying the universe?
I like to dub my plan this week Plan 6 from outer space. That's 3 higher than Plan 9, but I'm far too modest to claim that this would be Plan number 1. Although, of course, it's the best of our 4 plans, those being, of course, Plan 10, Plan greater than 8 but less than 10, and Plan Ben's plan. But that's all just a bit of colour. Let's get to the meat of the matter. And the meat in this instance consists of vegetables. Instead of using the Bring Back to Life ray, the spooky ooky aliens stay in orbit and utilise the turning humans into actual vegetables ray. 1/6 of the population shall be turned into human-sized carrots. 1/6 into human-sized cauliflowers. 1/6 into human-sized sweet potatoes. 1/6 into human-sized corn on the cobs. 1/6 into human-sized potatoes. And 1/6 into human-sized broccolis. They have a face, but no arms or legs, and have to bounce around like funny little cartoon characters. They have human intelligence, but lack the limbs for scientific endeavours. And being as the space aliens are able to enact their plan from orbit, there is zero chance of any coppers or random airline pilots messing up their plan, open brackets 6, close brackets, full stop. Can you prove it couldn't happen?
I just got visions of Pickle Rick.
I'm a pickle, Morty!
Wubba dub dub dubba. He managed to turn himself from a pickle and managed to like kill rats and stuff as a pickle, didn't he? So
Yeah,
I
make
think
himself like a little robot suit.
Yeah, that's it. I think possibly based on that, using that evidence, I think that some scientists, vegetable scientists they may be, might manufacture a way to basically stop the aliens somehow.
Don't know, he is like the multiverse's smartest man.
Yeah.
And he does have access to futuristic and alien tech.
But when the cards are down, sometimes that's a good enough motivator. You're imminent death. The scientists will all shuffle together and sort of have a lie down and talk to each other about it.
There'd be like a hive mind, wouldn't it? All these broccolis getting together.
Yeah, I wonder if actually that would help them. So
Definitely.
they can touch like leaves or roots and grow.
Of course, we do know the outcome of this and can prove that it doesn't work, because the implication of Plan 9 is that plans 1 through 8 failed.
Yeah. But this is actually, I misspoke. This is Plan 6B, not Plan 6.
Okay, so still before Plan 9.
Yeah, but they come to it after Plan 10.
Oh.
After Plan 10's failed.
Actually, I just found another plan we didn't look at before. That was Plan 6A. This is Plan 6B.
Oh, shit.
Quite a funny image, though, isn't it? Everybody turned into vegetables. Hey?
Yeah, one that I doubt Edward D. Wood Jr. could pull off.
Did you say they were human-sized vegetables or vegetables with human face?
It's pretty funny, though, isn't it? Human-sized vegetables with little faces.
Pretty funny to think about it.
Pretty good stuff.
Would they have normal beards and moustaches, or would they have like...
Would they have genitals just hanging out the front of the vegetable?
No, I was trying to work a fingering joke into there, but I just couldn't get it to work.
Well, I appreciate the effort.
Yeah.
Would they have an anus?
No facial hair, I've decided either.
Would the potatoes, the sweet potatoes, be various different sizes, and some of them like perfectly round or like ovoid type shapes, and then others a bit like crooked?
Yeah, with like little extra appendages on the head, like little nubbins sticking out. Yeah.
Oh, so some of them would look like actual humans. Have you seen those? Like carrots that look like people. Just want to inform you guys that Super Dude looked genuinely affronted when you said that the vegetables didn't have facial hair. Did you pull the right face? He wasn't
Did I?
happy.
Too unrealistic.
My mind must have wandered. wasn't bothered about that. Must have been thinking about something that happened earlier today.
I'm just laughing at something else.
Right, well, that sounds pretty solid. If there are no further questions for Gaz, I will bring us home. In the year of our Lord, 1959, as the Earth slumbered under the starlit sky, an ominous fleet of extraterrestrial origin hovered at the very brink of space. Little did humanity know that celestial architects of chaos had devised an interstellar intervention so cunning it threatened the very fabric of cognitive existence. Scene: a cheesy, poorly constructed model of Earth with obvious strings attached, shows a fleet of flying saucers looming ominously. Cut to a family sleeping peacefully. Suddenly, a bright flash bursts through the window, followed by an ear-splitting sci-fi sound effect. What in the cosmic heavens was that? Oh dear, it's those pesky space visitors again. Will we ever get a good night's sleep? Yes, dear citizens of Earth. The alien commanders, in their infinite wisdom, had unleashed their latest weapon, the Nocturnal Luminosity Disruptor, or as it was soon to be feared, the Sleep Stealer 3000. Cut to an alien commander in a shiny costume.
Behold, my fellow star wanderers, with each flash of our superior technology, we shall gently cradle humanity into a state of forgetful grogginess. They shall be too tired to ponder the perilous paths of doomsday devices.
Scene: various people stumbling around their homes and workplaces, yawning and bumping into furniture. Night after restless night, the fleet executed their master plan. With every interrupted dream and each stolen slumber, the minds of Earth's greatest thinkers began to resemble the morning fog. Thick, confused, and desperately slow-moving. Scene: a scientist in a lab coat stands in front of a complicated-looking machine, holding a coffee cup. He yawns and accidentally pours coffee into the machine's fuel intake instead of his cup. Oh, bother. I just can't think straight. There's no way I could ever invent anything ever again. And so, with the brilliance of Earth dimmed by the dastardly deeds of the discs in the sky, the universe was saved from certain doom. Remember, dear listeners, the next time you gaze upon the stars, maybe, just maybe, someone is gazing back, ready to disrupt your sleep.
So your plan is a light.
So basically, it's that flash, that loud flashbang that they used to resurrect, but just repurposing it to keep people awake at all hours of the day.
It's noisy, is it? It's not just light.
Did you hear it? It was ear-splitting.
How often does it go? How often does it sound?
Oh, they're doing it all the time. They've got a fleet around the Earth just going mental.
So it'd kill everybody, basically, wouldn't it?
Eventually, probably.
Yeah.
But that was their plan anyway, right?
How long can you live without sleep?
Oh, not long.
Not long.
You start to get very, very forgetful. There'll be accidents caused by it.
Yeah.
And then I think there is a point where you will just die.
I reckon people will go into their basements and cellars and dig holes underground and hide from the noises.
It's very, very bright and it can gravitational lens under doors.
Penetrate through rock, can it? Yeah.
Under doors, under little door cracks. And the sound is very loud.
Swear, ear defenders.
Yeah. Ear defenders.
Didn't have them in 1959. Not good ones.
Just get chewing gum, put it in.
Guard your ears!
With Gormans. I think people will flee into coal mines and other such places.
Yeah, well, the alien technology is so powerful it can get in there, so don't worry. In fact, it's even louder in a coal mine because it echoes. Ooh.
I reckon they'll go in submarines to the bottom of the sea where it's so dark, no light can penetrate.
That's fine, because they've got no technology down there to create the solaronite bomb, so it achieves the same purpose.
But after they're down there for a little while, they'll be like, oh, actually, it's not so bad here. Or tell you what we could do.
Go on.
Oh, yeah.
Where they get the materials for it?
From the energy of the sun that was installed into the planet's core upon the formation of the Earth.
And how are they getting down there at that kind of pressure?
Drilling. Well, they've been living down at the bottom of the sea for a while now.
Oh, so
they
they'll
know
just
all about
adapt to the pressure, even though they're in a pressurized submarine.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just I'm taking apart your plan here, you know, but I'm also creating another superior plan.
But because it's done in my section, that's part of my plan. So
I mean, this does feel like one of those cross-examinations where instead of coming up with an answer to the question, you're just changing the laws of physics to suit your whims.
well, the point of the sleep disruptor is that people won't be able to concentrate on inventing a weapon.
Yeah.
And I think all of those things that you've said, whether they're locking themselves in a basement, whether they're going underwater or in a coal mine, achieve the same purpose. So there's my answer.
Just want to kill him by severe cruelty, torture, essentially.
Well, they're not aiming to kill them. They just want to make them not invent stuff. But if they kill him, it's the same as the Plan 9, right?
Wasn't Plan 9, though, to convince him not to, and then it kind of went wrong?
No, they tried to convince him, right? They tried to get in touch with the Pentagon. The Pentagon, they weren't listening, those buggers.
Yeah.
And so they had to enact Plan 9. So plans 1 to 8 were all about convincing the Pentagon in different ways.
Yeah. But then when they told those three guys, and then the three guys were like, oh, don't you steal my wife, and oh, you can't say that, or don't point that thing at me and all that, and then they just sort of lost their shit over them, didn't they?
Yeah, but my aliens don't need to come down to Earth. They just hover.
No.
Right, everyone convinced by my plan?
I don't think it's going to be a surprise when I say no.
Those schemes were as diabolical as Dracula's foreskin. Now it's time to vote for our favourite. As a reminder, we had Super Dude's Plan 10 with Poop Shoot, Adam's allegorical zombie threat, Gaz's 6B vegetable plan, and my own Plan Ben's plan / Plan 11, which involves sleep disruption. Remember, each vote is worth exactly 1 point for the leaderboard. No more. Come on, guys. But certainly
no
less. That's actually the best we've ever done that. Brilliant, well done. And let me remind you, you may not vote for yourself. Right, Gaz, you celestial scoundrel. Who have you voted for?
I voted for the plan that made me titter the most, and the most titters that I tittered came from Adam's plan.
Well, thank you very much.
Congratulations, Adam. And who have you voted for, pray tell?
I have voted for the one grounded in a little bit of reality. I think it would
What?
work. I voted for Super Dude.
Dude.
The Poop Shoot. That's grounded in reality.
Yeah. Compared to yours, Gathis, yeah.
To resurrect specifically Oppenheimer, to remind people,
To resurrect Oppenheimer 10 years before his death.
7 years before his death, to remind people that of the folly of creating weapons of mass destruction.
All right, Super Dude, who have you voted for? Dare I ask?
Well, I have voted for the plan that was somehow prior to post-production already like a radio show and also made me titter a lot. That's Adam.
Thank you very much.
And I have voted for the plan that I thought was executed with real razzmatazz. And that was you, Adam.
Oh, thank you very much.
So it's a clean sweep.
Well, muchos gracias, senors.
Clean sweep, much like the clean sweep you get when you buy the Poop Shoot and have it installed in your home. Sluice one out as you shower.
Push it down the plug hole.
Yeah, feel the gentle waters cascade between your buttocks.
Can you imagine how refreshed you feel after a shower and shit at the same time?
Yeah.
I just feel dirty, especially if it was a massive one and it wouldn't just like slide down.
No, it'll be that you just showered it all off. All the filth is showered off.
Kick up a
Oh,
stink
wow.
in a warm shower, though, wouldn't it? Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good point. Does anyone want to retract their vote for Super Dude based on that? Damning evidence.
Well, I don't do it that way around because I have one of those showers where you can take the shower head off the wall and it's on like a hose. And my toilet's right next to that. So I sit and poop on the toilet as normal and shower myself while I'm sat on the toilet.
You go wet room.
No. Just let the mat sop it up.
Emma, I'm done.
So, Gaz, tell us, what has that done to the diabolical leaderboard?
The scores currently stand at, in the lead with 12 points, is the Adam.
Ooh.
In second place with 11 points is Super Dude.
Ooh.
In third place with 9 points, it's Gaz.
Ooh.
In fourth place with 8 points is Ben.
Ooh.
Bullshit.
Oh. That's still close.
There's only 5 points separating.
Four.
Four.
No, it's
yeah.
been a good season. It's been a good season
Yeah.
so far.
Twit.
Strong.
And it's only going to get better from here on out, Peril Pals. So, Adam, as host of our next episode, tell us, what movie must we endure?
So next week, we shall be watching my favourite musical of all time. One that I'm sure is held dear to our hearts across the panel of Peril. We shall be watching Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Spooktober continues.
And that's it for another episode. Thank you for listening. For more film-related tomfoolery throughout the week, follow us on all the social medias at DiabolicalPod. And join us next time when we'll be dissecting Little Shop of Horrors. Until then, keep watching the skis.
Small potatoes, small potatoes, small potatoes, small potatoes, small potatoes, small potatoes on the moon, small potatoes in the sea, small potatoes take a bath, small potatoes sing with me, potatoes, ooh, potatoes.
We are sending to outer space to find another race.
I'm
I'm sending to outer space to find another
race. Take your brain to another dimension. Take your brain to another dimension. Take your brain to another dimension. Dude,
Pay close attention.
Spaceman, I always wanted you to go into space, man, intergalactic crime.
Getting spooky with it.